hello, this is going to be my Group 10 Deliverable 3 screen recording, going over all the different SQL files that we made and showing how they work in this online SQL editor. I find this to be a lot easier than using an actual database for some reason. So first I'll go over the relational model that we created. This is going to be for a bike shop. So the bike table will have bike ID as a primary. As secondaries, there's bike type ID, location ID, brand, color, model, number of wheels, owner ID, location ID. The customer table has customer ID as the primary key. It also has home location, email address, phone, card number, and name. Location uses location ID as the primary key, also has location name, number of bikes, and address. Review uses review ID as the composite key. It also has bike type ID, num rating, review text, and customer ID. Bike reviews basically utilizes both. So this is how they'll kind of interact with each other. I ended up making a table for each of these four entities, except for bike reviews. So I will show you how those work here. The first one that we have is this group 10 create statement here. So it goes through and creates each table along with their primary keys and constraints. For example, the review constraint is that the num rating must be between 1 and 5. So if it's out of those ranges, then it'll throw an error. So go ahead and copy this in here and create the tables. Alright, so now we have all those tables. Review, location, customer, and bike. So now the next step is to fill these tables with data because as you can see on the right side they are empty until we run this insert statement. So let me go ahead and run the insert statement here. First one for customer is going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rows along with their card numbers, phones, email address, home location, and customer ID. Bike is going to add 3 new rows of bikes. That would be one that we'd hope to obviously put a ton of data in for a real test database, but for this purposes, this will do. For location, there's 3 locations here that equal out to be 3 rows. And then for review, I added 5 reviews here with the appropriate data type for each column, as well as 5 rows. So we'll go ahead and add a semicolon there because that would probably throw an error. And let's go ahead and copy and paste that to insert some data. Boom. So now you can see bike is full of data, customer is full of data, location is full of data, and review is full of data as well that we went over there. Last thing I'll go over briefly here is some of the select statements. I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the group. I'll go over just a few of those, some of the most important. Obviously this is a super general one to get customer. This is one of my favorites that's useful for a payment processing side of things. This would be really useful if you were maybe creating a payment API or something for the bike shop and you would need a card number. This would take a card number from a certain customer with a certain ID, and then this isn't super necessary, but just proves that you could also filter it by name as well. So this takes the card number from customer 1, 2, 3, 4, which you can see is this top one here, which is John Tim's. So you could change it to be select card number and name or whatever else you wanted to change. So that's a really useful one from the customer database. And then let's try, this is another one that I think would be useful. This would just be to check the inventory of each shop. You could filter also by linking between tables by location, but this is to select all the bikes where they have number of wheels 2 in color green. Apparently there's only 1, but you could change up this query to just take all the bikes where there's 2 wheels. So that would be this one Kawasaki bike that we've outlined here. Final query I will go over is finding reviews. So this one here will find the review text, which is the actual review where the bike type ID is not 3. that one, again, is not necessary, but show how filtering could be so manipulated with a query if you wanted to, and then the review ID is 3, so it should just give us 1 here. The review was that the bike was just okay. So you could populate a web page with this, or a component in React or something like that. The review text select query would be really useful in that sense. So those are those 3. I showed the relational model as well, and about how it works with the create. The create is basically exactly what you would need to do to replicate what we're doing in there. So that is everything. Thank you for watching.